Hello everybody and welcome back to the Pokemon All-Star Competition. I am of course Cram, coach of the St. Louis Battlehawluchas. This week it's currently week 5 I believe. We are playing Vermont Venusaurs, which is coached by ginginese. And as you can see on your screen, we have the matchup at hand. Now I will say as a disclaimer before we get into the match that I actually did prepare, not for this team, but I prepared for a completely different team. However, didn't end up mattering too much I think gameplay wise, just because a lot of the prep that I prepared for the other team actually kind of worked in my favor here. As you can see, he's got one of his biggest spreads is the Palafin, and I do think that Milotic with Flame Wire does a pretty good job of checking that, especially with Alluring Voice in case it's a bulk up variant or a sub bulk up variant. I would have preferred like other sets in this matchup, of course. Like there's definitely some prep on my part where it was just absolutely useless here, but I do think some of it still works situationally at least. Like for example, my Arboliva definitely cannot do anything about Terra Grass Heatran, which he did decide to bring, but my Terra Ghost Annihilate looks incredible in this matchup for sure. And I think there's definitely a lot of chances for this team to still work. Here I do decide to lead with Glimmora. I was a little flushed at that point, and Glimmora was my dedicated lead for the intended matchup, but I do think it still works at here. I haven't actually led Glimmora, which is pretty much all of this thing does. So this is my first time leading Glimmora, and it actually doesn't work in my favor because he does decide to lead with the Palafin. No, I am Rocky Helmet, and I could get a little bit of chip on him, but I do decide not to do that just because I have pretty easy swap ins. I can go right here into the Milotic, and what that does is it allows me to get off my Flamor for later for when he's a full-size Palafin in his hero mode. So he's going to flip turn, get the free momentum off on me, and in response he's going to go into the Hattery. Now here I don't have flip turn, so I can't pivot out. I am going to decide to hard switch out so I don't get this being weakened for the Palafin. Instead I'm going to go immediately into the Goodra. It checks this being pretty well, and I got coverage to deal with it. As he decides to line up a Future Sight, which is very interesting. I do decide to try to catch the switch because one thing he could do is go into Roaring Moon, and that plus Future Sight lineup would be put a lot of pressure on my team, so I just decided to go for Body Press, but he does go into Clodsire, which works out for him. Here I probably should have stayed in, but I didn't want to take an Earthquake because this thing is still very good into his team. So here I decided instead to go into a Mamoswine, completely forgetting about the Future Sight, as he does decide to get up Spikes. And then the Future Sight is going to hit on this turn, which is very unfortunate because Mamoswine is going to survive, but only on 2 HP, so I am dead to Spikes because I decided not to bring any removal. And here I am going to force it out and go for the high horsepower. And he's actually going to go directly into his Palafin. So now here I'm in a position where I am dead to Hazard, so I need to decide if I want to save this or not. I decided to punish him for going for anything other than Jet Punch. It actually does pay off for me, so I start immediately with a 6-5 lead here. Here I'm just going to get as much damage as possible. We're just going to continue to stack off the Mamoswine. He's going to go for the Draining Kiss and get some of that back. But keeping it under half is still pretty nice for me, especially if I want to get a Hazard later in this game. So in response to the Hatterene, he's going to reveal that he's Leftovers as well. But I'm going to go directly back into the Goodra. I think now that Future Sight's not lined up, I can probably safely go for Knockoff and hit just about everything. He actually does reveal Protect though, so he is just going to siphon a little bit of recovery off of this interaction, but that's fine with me just because I also have Leftovers, so it's just going to help me heal off the Spikes damage that I already took. And then it lets him decide what he would like to switch into here. And once we both chomping on our Leftovers here, he is going to decide to switch out, and he's going to go back into the Golisopods, I believe. Because he probably doesn't feel that his item is needed. He's got some more valuable items in his stack. And I'm actually going to knock off the Agua Berry, so that's nice. That's recovery that it won't have for later. He probably still has Recover, but getting that passive recovery can help me to a KO or something. Here, I thought for sure he was going to set up another layer of spikes, so I actually decided to go into my Glimmora to see if I can set up a Hazard myself. As I take spikes damage, but he actually just goes straight for the EQ, so that was a misplay on my part, so All the work I did to get ahead, wasted. So now we're back to a tie game. And I had some options here. I could go into Annihilape to start setting up, but RazorrClawww doesn't really get much chance this game, given what he brought. I figure I should go into it now and threaten him out with a potential Earth Power, as he's gonna actually go into the Golurk actually. So Giga Drain would have been nice, but I actually decided to go for the substitute to see how he's gonna react to this thing. And immediately in retaliation, he's going to go for the Dynamic Punch, which is great because the sub blocks me from taking the full damage, and I don't get confused as well, at least initially. I figured he's going to be faster and threaten me the next turn. I'm just going to go for a Giga Drain for damage. And he actually is built to survive that, so I was going to him. I get pretty much back to full here. Almost. And he's basically in range of 2 more hits, so I figured he's probably going to go for Dynamic Punch again, because he knows that my Terra is Terra Steel. So he can cover everything by just going for the Drain Punch. But I'm going to go into Annihilape here and punish the play. So I get a free opening for Annihilape, which is amazing. So this thing is in range of Rage Fist, which is great for me, because I can just go for it. Even though I have no boost, I can still knock it out. So he's going to actually go into the Clodsire, which is good on him. Unfortunately, Clodsire not the check to Annihilape. This is going to give us the opportunity to start going into town with Annihilape. I'm going to go for the taunt here because I don't want him to poison me. I don't have any counterplay to status here. As he actually decides to go for Toxic Spikes, which is not ideal that Gamora's gone, but it's nice that we got rid of him. Would have been nice to have set up a bulk up instead, but that's alright. Now we get to go for the bulk up. Now we're in a pretty good spot. The only thing is that after Leftovers here, Hattering's going to be just barely out of range because I have no Rage Fist boost. So what I am forced to do here is to commit my Terra. I'm completely fine with this exchange because I feel that Annihilape's Terra is more useful versus what he brought than RazorrClawww is. And with this boost to my Rage Fist, it boosts to 60 power, and I get the extra bonus with the stab. So this is going to do a lot, even though I don't have any Rage Fist boosts. I'm also +1 as well from the first bulk up. We're going to throw it out, and Hattering's gone, which is great, because, I mean, if I could get up hazards if I still had them, but as good as I have a bulk up, so there's a lot of things that can't actually KO me yet. So here I'm going to go for taunt because I still don't want him to go for any status of any sort, whether that's recover or toxic or whatever, which does allow him to punish me by getting free damage with the earthquake. We're now at 100 power, and I can go for a second bulk up. Which is great because this will help me survive some hits in the back. He's going to go for Earthquake. And based on that, I'm actually out of range of Roaring Moon. So here is the opportunity where I need to go for Rage Fist to pick up the slack out. So far, Annihilape's 2-0 here, knocking him out. And we're going to see what he goes into next, because I do live a hit from Roaring Moon now. To the second bulk up. But he actually goes into Heatran. He's going to be faster with Fire Blast. And he actually knocks me out, which is a little unfortunate. I think if I was just a little bit healthy, it might have worked out, but this is definitely an offensive Heatran as a result. Now here I'm going to go into my Melodic, and my expectation here is that he's going to Terra Blast me, so I'm actually going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a double, as he actually decides to pull a double himself, showing that he is faster, and that he, in this moment, does not want to attack my Melodic, which makes me think he might be Choice Select. The only unfortunate thing is, though, I scouted with my Goodra, and he ends up going into the Golurk, so this actually does not work out in my favor at all. Because he can get a free hit off of me, and because I committed my Terra, he can just click Dynamic Punch on everything. But he actually does decide not to stay in, just in case I survive the hit and knock him out. And then he's actually going to go into Heatran on me, as I go for knockdown to knock him out, which actually works incredibly in his favor because he outspeeds the rest of my team anyway, and what he really just needed was the opportunity to switch up his moves, which was holding him back from attacking the Melodic before. So now he can commit to Terra and go for Terra Grass so that he takes less damage from my body press. Unfortunately, I do survive any one hit from this thing at my health, so I can at least get damage on him. But I don't have the best means of hitting a Terra Grass Heatran. He's going to go for the Earth Power, which doesn't 2-hit KO me, but he does get a Spadef drop, which is highly unfortunate because I would have survived the next one otherwise. I go for Body Rest, pretty meaningless damage, but I'm going to get some health back at least. And because I'm pressured with that Spit drop, I actually decided to go into Arboliva here, as it doesn't really provide me too much else other than covering for this Earth core. And he is going to go exactly for that, which is going to set up my terrain, but I think the terrain honestly works more in his favor than it does mine, because he can't be weak seated by me, he can't be hit by my Giga Drain, he gets a little free recovery, and it's already hard enough for me to break the Heatran as is. Here I do decide to go for a Terra Blast, hoping to get some nice neutral damage, and he does hit another Fire Blast and knocks me out. Must be nice hitting, but that's alright, of course. Unfortunately, we do have like not enough left to deal with this Heatran. I'm going to go into my Goodra and at least get as much damage as possible. After spikes, I can go for another Dragon Claw at least to take him out. Click Dragon Claw again, and I don't get too much damage off on him, but yeah, the Death Drop's not going to matter for the second Earth Power, although it was really funny in the moment. Now I'm in range of pretty much anything he wants, so he's going to go for the Earth Power and take me out. Goodra did a lot of work on the field, but all I have left now is the Milotic. After he gets some recovery back, he actually gets all the way back to just about half. And now that Milotic is completely defenseless against him, he's actually going to go for a Terra Blast to finish off this game. Terrain boosted, no way I ever live this. And unfortunately, we're going to take our 5th loss in a row, which probably like 99.9% of the time will take us out of playoff contention unless some very specific things happen that are out of our control. But, you know, we still got 3 weeks, so I'll see you guys next week.